My name is Grant Norfleet. I am from Mexico, Missouri, and graduated from Mexico High School in 2021. And I'm currently a senior at the University of Missouri studying agricultural education and leadership. I grew up on my small family's beef cow-calf operation and row crop operation in the southwest corner of Audrain County, so not too far from Columbia at all. And I grew up showing and raising beef cattle, showing beef cattle alongside my younger brother. And then I also had an agricultural education SAE program in high school where I got to do a summer camp program with local 4-H members. Kind of around the FFA program, my dad taught diesel technology just across the hall in the ag building, so I always grew up with the FFA students in the ag building when I come home after school, elementary school or middle school. And I remember signing up for classes with my dad in the garage. It was spring of my 8th grade year. We were registering for high school classes. I had one spot left and he said, "Hey, I think you should just take ag, join FFA for the first year, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, and just see what you can do." And so I joined the FFA kind of not really knowing what to expect with FFA. I knew what to expect from ag class, but it was kind of those mentors, good friends like Lauren Quinlan, who kind of took me under their wing, folks I had recognized from the county fair and through 4-H and other programs like that. They kind of took me under their wing, showed me the ropes of what FFA can really do for you and the impact it can have on your life and careers and other goals you can set throughout the organization. And that's kind of what got my interest in joining the organization. I think FFA has really given me a lot of just tangible skills that if I wanted to pursue a career in or outside of agriculture to be successful in my career. We really pride ourselves as an organization to grow leaders, build communities, and then most importantly strengthen the agriculture industry. And so not only did I get my personal skills developed, but I think what FFA really had an impact on me personally and my personal community is the connections that we were able to bridge throughout the FFA chapter and with our local community. So I'm really grateful of the community that I've had and the support I've been able to get from that community, but also had those experiences to give back to them through different community service projects. And so I think that's the huge impact that FFA provides for students, not only because it provides actual community service, but also provides a community for students who need a sense of community. And that's kind of what helps bring the connections of FFA, because we're all connected to agriculture, and that kind of what all ties us together within the organization. I remember standing there during elections, and they call the 4 regional vice presidents first, and I really, most people think, if you're not everyone forgets about president secretary. So I wasn't named for central region vice president, and I was just man, I just don't think this is going to be my team. I just don't think I'm going to get elected. That's okay. And they called my name for secretary, and I just remember kind of blacking out, if I'm going to be honest. And I didn't even it just didn't hit me, and I was just oh my gosh, I couldn't remember what I was doing, and I was whoa, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, now that I have time to reflect on it, after being in the heat of the moment, it's very humbling to be selected by the 9 nominating committee members that have entrusted me to serve the almost 1 million members we have within our organization. And so it's a really rewarding feeling to recognize that there are 9 individuals that believed enough in me and my 5 other teammates that we can serve these 1 million members to the best of our abilities over the next 365 days, because that's what we're here to do at the end of the day. And so it's really exciting to see that I get this opportunity, but I'm ready to embark on this year of service. So as a national officer, I like to think of it about in 3 chunks. So there's about 3/3 of the year of national office. So our first third starts from about November to mid-February, and that's kind of all of our onboarding and training. So that's me and my teammates are going to move to Indianapolis, Indiana. We're going to really focus on some of those team dynamics, do a lot of personal reflection, and do some of those onboarding processes of what are our personal goals for the year, but what are our team goals. Then kind of just get more acquainted with National FFA and the National FFA Center and the experiences that we're going to be having throughout the year. So we'll be developing our keynote speeches, developing our student leadership workshops and other programs we'll be facilitating throughout the year, getting to have some hands-on practice with those, getting to visit with students across the country, and then we round out that onboarding process with the international agricultural experience, and we'll be going to Japan, and which will be really, really exciting. So that's about our first third. Our second third is kind of the hit the ground running, we're on the road. That's when my teammates and I split up. So about FFA week, the end of February to about end of July, we'll be on the road. Between the 6 of us, we'll try to be attending all 50 state conventions across the country, delivering keynotes and workshops with students. And in between that, we'll be visiting students at their local FFA chapters, different FFA summer camps, things like that. And then we also do industry and sponsor visits as well. So getting to meet with folks like here at Sydenstricker Nobbe John Deere, getting to meet with those folks who support FFA and getting to kind of see what their business is about and where they'd like to see the organization go. And then we round that trip or that section out with State Officer Summit in Washington, D.C., where we get all of our state FFA officers together and provide our leadership training with them in Washington, D.C. Then our last third is kind of we wrap up a little bit more of our travels, get those final chapter visits in. We will select the nominating committee to elect the 2024-2025 National FFA Officer Team. And then finally, the biggest chunk of that last third is preparing for the 97th National FFA Convention Expo that will be held at the end of October in Indianapolis, Indiana. There's a lot of cool states. It's like I will not know until December what my specific assignments are for states, but I got to request like my top 5. So obviously I'll be coming back to Missouri, get to come back from Missouri State Convention here in about end of April. But the ones I requested, like my number one choice was Alaska. So I want to try to go to Alaska, Montana, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Mississippi were the states that I requested. My teammates and I tried to be nice and tried to all pick like different big states. So we all picked different number ones so we could try to get, because someone wants to go to California, someone wants to go to Puerto Rico, someone wants to go to Hawaii, someone wants to go to Florida, somebody wants to go to Oklahoma, Georgia, the big ones. And so that's kind of where I'm like hoping to get, but who knows, we'll see how schedules line up. But I'll get to go to some really cool places regardless where I get assigned to. So I'm really excited either way. So becoming a National FFA officer is like definitely not an easy process, I'm not gonna lie. And so first, every state can nominate one individual as their National FFA Officer candidate. So this year back in May, I ran to be the Missouri National Officer candidate, and I got that position in the middle of May. And then from that, it's kind of all of our prep work. So getting to prepare for the different rounds. I had a paper application due in the beginning of August. So that's my letter of intent, resume, cover letter, things like that, and some letters of recommendation and some other just general questions that we fill out on a form. But then the various processes or rounds throughout the National Officer Selection process, it's an 8-day interview process. And those include a video exercise, so you record a video to a prompt before you arrive. There's various personal interviews. Some of those personal interviews are you with all 9 nominating committee members asking you questions. Sometimes there are interviews where it's just you one-on-one with each of the nominating committee members. And then we also have some other skill-based interview portions of the experience. So sometimes that's delivering a speech. We did workshop facilitation with students. We had advocacy stakeholder interviews and discussions. So that's like having a one-on-one discussion with an agricultural industry leader in various scenarios, like at conferences or maybe we're in the airport. And then we also did media interviews, so something very similar to this, whether we're going to be on film for the news, maybe we're doing an audio recording for the radio or a podcast, things like that. Things just put us in various scenarios that the national officers do get to experience. So whether that is connecting with students one-on-one, getting to know you personally through a personal interview, or getting some professional experience with you as well, like having discussions through media or with other stakeholders. And so it's a long process. There is like an advancement halfway through where they narrow it down to about the top half of candidates, and then they do election on stage at the closing general session at National Convention each year. It's a long process, but like a very rewarding process as well though. So I'll be taking a professional leave of absence from the University of Missouri, so I'll not be enrolled in any classes for the 2024 calendar year. So I will be taking a year off of school, like a gap year, and that is kind of how that works academically for me. But fortunately, like my professors have been really accommodating, and I have all of my things wrapped up at the university. So I'll be able to return back to classes and graduate in the spring of 2025. And the rest of that, my life goes on pause at home. And so I'm gonna leave my family, I'm gonna leave all my friends here in the center of Missouri and get to travel across the country to meet students exactly where they are, exactly as me. And so that's kind of what my life looks like academically, and other cool things I get to wrap up, like my apartment and like car payments and things like that. but it's definitely worthwhile to put life here on pause for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I think that's something that people often forget, that national officers are putting life on pause at home so they can serve this organization. So that's kind of like logistically what my life is looking like right now, but I'm definitely really excited for the opportunities ahead.